31. Sweet Home Chicago. After the shootout with Riley's Cups, I woke up in a bed at Doc's place with Ace looking after me. Apparently I'd stopped a slug and been out of it for a while. It couldn't have been anything much. The wound had pretty well healed, and I never felt better in my life. Then Ace told me she and Doc were leaving Chicago, and for a while I never felt worse. We had a farewell party there last night. I sat on a stool at the bar, watching Ace while Luigi filled me in on all the news. Al Capone was taking the sun at his place in Miami, and Bugs Moran had disappeared after his near miss on St. Valentine's Day. Nobody had seen Anselmi and Scalise around, and nobody was missing them. Nobody seemed to have shot anyone for a while, and it looked like recent violent events had worn everybody out. Mayor Thompson's cleanup campaign had run out of steam, and most of the joints were back in business again. I guess nobody was ever going to close down Chicago. Halfway through the evening, my old friend Captain Riley came in. He was alone and in plain clothes, and he wasn't looking for any trouble. He even bought me a drink. "I was hoping for a word with Doc," he said, and I took him over to Doc's alcove. Riley sat down and raised his glass to us both. "God save all here," he said, emptying it. Doc beckoned to a waiter, who brought him over another one. "And what can I do for you, Captain Riley?" "Well, to begin with, I want to apologize for that little bit of misunderstanding we had a while back." "Think nothing of it," said Doc. Riley leaned forward. "The truth of it is, I was given a bum steer by that tall skinny fella, him that went around causing so much trouble. No one seems to have seen him for a while. They tell me he's out of circulation." "Took care of him, did you?" "In a way." "Well, now, since everything's back to normal again," said Riley. He gave Doc a hopeful look. "Ah, the Police Benevolent Fund, of course." Doc produced a well-stuffed envelope, and Riley made it disappear. He had a couple more drinks and disappeared himself. I looked at Doc. "Only in Chicago." "Just a matter of business," said Doc. "Oh, and speaking of business..." He handed me a sheaf of important-looking papers. "What's this?" "Half a saloon. You're a co-owner with Luigi, a silent partner. Prohibition won't last very much longer, and when it ends, you can go legit." I tried to argue, but you just can't argue with Doc. We called Happy Harrigan off the door and gave him a drink. "Meet your new bosses, Happy," said Doc. "Luigi and Mr. Decker." Happy was pleased, but a little worried too. "Maybe Mr. Decker don't want no ex-con working here, him being a private cop and all." I pounded him between the shoulder blades. It was like hitting a brick wall. "Happy, as long as we got a saloon, you got a job. Right, Luigi?" Luigi smiled. "Wouldn't be Doc's place without you, Happy." It was going to be Doc's place without Doc soon, I thought, and without Ace. It was a quiet night. By the end of the evening, the band got tired and Doc took over from Sam. Doc played a mean piano, and some friend of his, a hell of a nice dame called Benny, sang the blues like she knew what they meant. Me and Benny were having a drink at the bar later and getting on real well when Ace came by and gave Benny one of those looks dames gave other dames. Benny gave me one of those some other time looks and drifted away. Ace took over her stool. "Buy me a drink, soldier." She was wearing the slinky black number I'd first seen her in and carrying the same black purse. I raised a finger to Luigi, and a couple of Jim beams appeared. I tried to pay, but Luigi shook his head. "Owner's privilege." I looked at Ace. "Doc gave me half the joint." She nodded. "I know." We sat sipping our drinks. I could stay, you know, said Ace. Sure you could. I could get a house in the country with a white picket fence, and you could buy a pink gingham dress with a lace collar. Ace sighed. It's not us, is it? She looked around the crowded, noisy, smoky joint. We've still got Chicago. We'll always have Chicago. Ace put her hand over mine. And we've still got tonight. Doc was over at the piano with Benny. I looked over and caught his eye, and he raised his hand in salute. Benny saw us too and smiled and waved. Well, no one seems to need us here, I said. We finished our drinks. As we left the bar, Doc was playing, and Benny was singing the blues.